Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh and warm greeting. Uh, Welcome to the part 3 on the outcome-based education workshop, and we will be concentrating on continuous quality improvement, CQI, and also preparation for documentation for the purpose of accreditation. The first session today, we will be expecting three outcomes. We hope that at the end of the session, the 2-hour session, you are able to describe the relationship between program objectives, program outcomes, course outcomes, and CQI in the assessment cycle by using CQI models. Secondly, hopefully that you are able to explain several tips on how to implement CQI. And last but not least, you are able to identify tools that can be developed to allow for assessment of outcomes for continuous quality improvement purposes. So there are two topics that we would like to consider here. So the first session will be under me, Shahrin Muhammad, who will deal with on the what, why, and how to implement CQI in an effective and efficient way. And then the second presentation will follow by Associate Professor Dr. Sharifah, who will deal with on assessment tools. So let us just briefly recall what an OBE curricula is all about. So in an OBE curricula, it must have program objectives, program outcomes, course outcomes, and performance indicator. It also addresses knowledge, skills, and attitudes to be attained by the student must be centered around and the needs of students and also the stakeholders. The course outcomes must satisfy the stated program outcome, and it includes different delivery methods, which actually we have done during our second workshop to complement the traditional lecturing method. The stated outcomes must be assessed and evaluated based on suitable performance indicator. And we are very particular about the constructive alignment. It must be addressed along the way. And I would like to also recall the relationship or mapping between the course outcomes, the program outcome, program objectives, and compliance to the stakeholders. I would like to deal this in this picture. So you know that in OBE, it's very important for us to determine, to state properly the program education objectives, the program outcomes, and the course statements. And usually it has to be based on the the customers, the stakeholders, and also the constituents. So we do get feedbacks from the professional bodies, governments, institutional requirements, and also industry. From their feedbacks, from their inputs, from their requirements, then we have our broad outcome statements. We call it the program education objectives, where whatever the requirements from the stakeholders will be addressed. For example, here, PE1 will address some of the requirements from the professional bodies, from governments and institutions. Industry and international requirements will, some of the requirements will be addressed in PO2 and others. And then in designing or in determining the program outcomes, which is actually what the students able to do upon graduation, able to attain upon graduation, and it has to address the program educational objectives. Similarly, uh, the cost must also address the program outcomes so that it will be aligned. For example, in this case, cost number one will address the program outcomes of number PO1, PO2, and PO3, and similarly the same with the others. And just to remind again the importance of constructive alignment, where the learning outcomes, whatever the student should be able to do, must align with the teaching activities and also the assessment methods, assessment approach.